Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of You Consulting. Today, what I want to speak about is part 4. Part 4 of our Learning OTR series. Today we're going to talk about structure. How do you add structure to your company, to your trucking company? We've touched about compliance, insurance, how to buy another truck. We've spoken about a lot of this. If you go and check our previous videos, you can see part 1, 2, and 3, and you'll learn about the other aspects. Today, I want to talk about structure. What am I going to talk about structure? I'm going to talk about the management of your truck, the management of your drivers, the management of your company, your team, how to establish a successful company. I have helped more than 25 successful trucking companies around the last couple years, and I will continue to do that. So our main point here is to add structure to your company. Now, why would you want to take advice from me? The reason I want to give you advice is because I have a lot of experience in this business. I used to work for a company, and that company, eventually, I worked so hard. I managed 14 trucks by myself. My boss made me his partner. That's where I started my journey. I started my company, Shark Logistics. That company failed horribly. It failed very, very horribly. How it ended was there was one of our drivers, he was high on cocaine, and he got into an accident which killed somebody in North Carolina. It was all over the news. So, what happened was we had got hit with a lot of lawsuits. The thing is, you have to have the proper coverages. You have to have the proper insurance coverages. If you go to part 3, you could watch our insurance series, and it'll talk about how to have the proper coverages with John. He was a really good friend of mine. He helped us out a lot. Now, let's talk about your truck. You buy the truck. Now, what would you do with that truck? You have to put a tracker inside your truck. There's these Verizon trackers. Once you put these trackers in, you could see live where your truck is, where it's going, where it's not. You have to have your equipment accountable. So why is a tracker important? The reason a tracker is so important is because so you know where your truck is at all times. They cost like $20, $30 a month. If you get the Verizon ones, you could even replay. You could go back a week, 2 weeks. You could see exactly where your truck was at. Now, speaking about driver management, the good thing that we did with the driver that was high and killed that person, and it was an 11-car collision. We had so many lawsuits going on. The thing is, the reason we were able to cover ourselves was because we did the proper things. You have to have a drug test on file for every single driver. You should do random drug tests. You should always have a drug test on file for your drivers. Have a drug test and an employment packet, because when DOT comes, they're not playing games. They're going to fine you $10,000, $20,000. They'll shut your company down right away. So you have to make sure that the structure is there. So that's where you get the driver management. Now, you have to make sure that your drivers are set on certain routes. The way I like to do it is I like set routes. Because if your driver is comfortable, they can go this route or they could go that route. You don't want to be mixing up your routes. You want to see when you're traveling and you have your truck going somewhere, you want to take a few things into perspective. What do I talk about these few things? When you are requesting or negotiating a price for your loads, you have to make sure that you take into account what the fuel is, what the timing is. You have to be very, very well versed in ELD laws. Now, if you know all these things, you can go to a broker and ask them for a certain price. Be like, hey, look, this is how much it costs for my fuel. This is how much it costs for my tools. And, how heavy is it? You don't want to pick up too heavy. I don't like to pick up anything above 40,000. Why don't I like to pick up anything above 40,000? Because it puts a lot of strain on your truck. Yeah, a broker could give you a lot of money, but then if you have a blowout on your tire, you're paying $500, getting these guys on the road, wasting time. Is it really worth it? I would rather take something $100, $200 less because it's less weight. So now we want to speak about how to get the work. There's a few different ways you could do it. You could use truck stop, you could use DAT, but at the end of the day, all it falls down is to your negotiating skills. How well are you at negotiating a good price with these brokers? Now, when you're in this industry, you'll see I get a lot of high rates. Like I get very, very high rates because I know how to sell a pitch to the broker. And that's how I'm able to get better rates from these guys. Also, a part of the work is contracted lanes. I have a few contracted lanes. I work with A2B. I have Vital. So they give me certain contracted lanes that pay like up to $10 a mile. I've even got $12 a mile a few times. The thing about contracted lanes is they come by hard, and you would have to really show that your work speaks for you. I have a network of a lot of carriers that I work with. I have 25 companies that I work with. I help a lot of people in this industry. If you ask around about anybody that I've worked with, nobody will tell you that they ever had a bad experience with me. I've always been good. I've always helped turn a company's profitability. I took some companies that was making nothing to something. So at the end of the day, your team does matter if you have a correct team. Because the thing is, if you have a company does not fall because of work or this, that, the third. Your trucking company falls because of your team. You need a proper team. If you don't have a proper team, forget about it. Warren Buffett said it best. He said, when I invest into a company, the first thing I look at is the team. So if your team is good and you don't have to worry about nothing there, you got the surface down packed, then you move on up to the profitability. After profitability, it's expansion. That's how I create successful companies, because that's what I focus on. I focus on cleaning the team, making sure these guys are good. Now, also a part of drivers is having proper fuel cards. You add that structure. Now, you get the fuel card. How do you get the fuel card? So you could use, what I like to use is Fleet One. I love their fuel cards because you could toggle it, control it. I've had drivers that stole from me, stole fuel from me. They'll ask their buddies to, hey, here, look, I'll fill you up, and then they'll split the money. So you do want to manage your fuel, because you don't want to be worrying about trust issues with your guys, because if you're worrying with trust issues, then your team is not good. So remember, you want to add structure, you want to have fuel cards, you want to have all these things. The next thing I want to touch on is a factoring company. What is a factoring company? So I don't know if you've been around. I've been around this business for a very long time. I used to be around before there was factoring companies. What a factoring company basically does is it buys your work so you get paid the same day. Now, I work with a network of 3,000 brokers. Some brokers pay 90 days, some pay 60 days, some pay 30 days. How do I get paid the same day though? Because my expenses, I have to pay that day. How do I get paid the same day? Through a factoring company. You give them 2% to 3%. Usually when a new carrier comes in, you get 3%. And also, I want to say something. They will hit you with the non-recourse and recourse. That's a sales gimmick. Don't fall for it. Non-recourse and recourse doesn't exist. Just try to get a good percentage. You want to get as low as possible. My clients, most of the time, I have a good guy. His name is Tyler Fritchie at Fleet One, who's a good friend of mine for years. He's the top sales guy there. Usually my clients, he's able to get them 2.5, 2.75 in the beginning, and everybody's happy. I never had any issues with them. Fleet One Factoring, so you should check them out. But anyways, they buy your work. Before factoring companies, what used to happen was we used to bill it out directly and lose a lot of money because some brokers won't pay, some will pay late, and you lose track because now it's very time consuming to track every single bill. But when you send it to a factoring company, you have one portal. That one portal, you just submit it in and you get paid the same exact day. They charge you about 2%, but think about it. That 2-3% is really, really less. If you lose one whole invoice of like 2,000, 3,000, then you're factoring, fuel cards, drivers, and just adding a little structure to your company. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into things, but because we try to keep our videos short and try to just help mostly new entrepreneurs that want to get into this business and don't get messed up. I've had a lot of clients that came to me that were going through some really, really difficult times. In this business, you got to stay straight and you have to have structure in your company. If you want true profitability, you have to have a good team. And then from there, you could develop profitability and then eventually develop expansion. I've seen companies go from 1 truck to 25, 10 trucks to 100 trucks. It all depends on your ambition level and what you actually want and how well you are at managing everything. Also, one mistake that a lot of company owners do, business owners, I see it all the time, they try to control every single aspect. You cannot control every single aspect, and you cannot have the same expectations of your employees that you would of yourself. That's not fair to them, that's not fair to you. Obviously, you have to have some expectations, but you cannot have like the same expectations that you have and your drive to win. I can't do that with my employees because at the end of the day, my drive is different. And also, I can make my own paycheck. They can't. So it's not fair to them. It's not fair to me. So what you have to do is put things in perspective and keep growing your company. If you have more questions, you could check out our Instagram channel. It's _View Consulting. You could also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out. We're going to be posting more information. We want to help you guys. I want to help you guys. I want to see more successful entrepreneurs in the logistics industry. Listen, the wheel has been turning. It's not regulated. Sometimes you got to break the wheel and just keep going, you know? So, I hope you guys learned something. If you guys want to know more, you guys can contact me directly through my email, uconsulting786@gmail.com if you have any questions. But Thank you for watching all my videos. This series is about to come to a close. We have one more episode, which is going to actually be with a DOT inspector who has 30 years experience. I just want to give a big shout out to HM Studios. Thank you so much for shooting all our videos and helping us. They were amazing. The direction, the guy, the owner, his directions is amazing. Thank you again, guys. If you guys like our videos, like, subscribe, and share, please. We try to help new entrepreneurs in this business that are trying to get in or already in. Thank you. Have a great day. My name is Sam. I'm out.